Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just jump right in, because today we are exploring the truly fascinating career of English and Irish composer, singer, and songwriter Terence J Hughes. We're going to break down the man, dive into his incredibly expansive musical catalog, and really dig into his current, super ambitious focus, a project known as Future Child. Honestly, if you're interested in what it actually means to be a fully independent artist navigating the globe today, you are absolutely in the right place.
Right off the bat, Hughes actually views his own sprawling body of work through this incredibly poetic, kind of cosmic lens. He calls it a fast-evolving catalog of original songs written and recorded during my time here on our little speck of dust in space. I just love that phrasing. He doesn't view his music as a mere product, right? He sees it as a literal chronicle of his time on Earth. It's a fast-evolving catalog, and that sense of relentless forward momentum is going to be a massive theme for us today as we unpack his life's work.
All right, let's get into Section 1, The Man and His Path. Carving a route outside the traditional music industry. What's super interesting about his story is this total dichotomy. On one hand, you have this fierce, true outsider ethos. He runs his own independent label, Nohead Music, and he explicitly says he's never felt part of the music industry. He's a guy who intentionally carved his own path. But then, on the other hand, despite that total outsider stance, he's got this incredible track record of very formal global business achievements. He wasn't just hiding away in a recording studio, he was out there conducting international market research and actually winning major export recognition. Just look at the sheer hustle over the years. Way back in 1995, he's conducting 3 solid weeks of action research in the Japanese market for popular music and getting it co-funded by the DTI. The very next year, 1996, he gets named a regional finalist for Shell Exporting Excellence for exports achieved across Japan, Europe, and North America. Fast forward a bit to 1999, he's on location in India handling sound production for an Anglo-Indian animation called BJ and the Gang. And by 2000, his company's at Midam, actively promoting the best of British music. Think about that for a second. He was actively researching foreign markets, even doing a 10-day field study in South Africa, long before the digital streaming era completely flattened the globe. Moving right along to Section 2, a unique cinematic sound. The haunting narratives of Nohead music. So you're probably wondering, what does an independent voyager like this actually sound like? Well, the source material describes his work as a really rich amalgamation of cinematic and theatrical themes. It's heavily driven by haunting narratives and provocative lyrics. And he delivers all of this through a totally unique musical style that's both captivating and just wildly diverse. Make no mistake, this isn't passive background music you put on while doing chores. This is art designed for a thinking audience. It demands you to listen, to be challenged, and to get immersed in the story. You can absolutely hear this highly distinctive soundscape across his back catalog. Some of the major album releases you'll find on his Nohead music label include Cyborg City, Island of Shadows, and Deep in the Bones. Every single one of these projects basically acts as a different chapter of his songwriting journey, perfectly blending those big theatrical elements with his deep, narrative-driven lyrics. That brings us to Section 3, Global Footprint and Reach, crossing borders, languages, and mediums. Connecting back to that global business acumen we talked about earlier, get this. Hughes hasn't just exported his English tracks and called it a day. He has actually written and recorded music in 4 different languages. We're talking English, Japanese, Spanish, and Portuguese. That is a staggering level of linguistic and cultural versatility, especially for a totally independent artist. It just proves that his message and his melodies were literally built to cross international borders. And the sheer breadth of his reach across different media formats is honestly amazing. In broadcasting, his work's been featured on BBC Radio, plus non-prime time slots for Viasat History and Viasat Nature Africa. In the international film world, his music has landed in Belgian, French, and Swiss films. He's super active in theater and live events too, doing music and sound design for the Moonladder Children's Theatre, and even representing a British entry for the Baltic Song Competition, which was broadcast live to the Baltic states. Add in special commissions like Pippi for the Worcestershire Literature Festival, and you're looking at a guy who can seamlessly adapt his very specific cinematic sound to fit almost any medium out there. All right, which brings us to Section 4, The Future Child Project, a story for our island in space. Everything we've discussed so far, all that global, theatrical, and business experience, is now crescendoing into his most ambitious upcoming work yet. Hughes describes Future Child as a story set to music, spoken word, and moving pictures exploring what will we become as we grapple with the problems we face living as one on an island in space. The really crucial takeaway here is that Future Child is not just another album drop, not at all. It is a massive, thought-provoking narrative about our collective human destiny, specifically branded for an audience that really wants to think deep. He is constructing a complete multimedia showcase from the ground up. Step 1 is the music, naturally, laying down that heavy cinematic foundation. Step 2 layers in powerful spoken word to really drive the narrative forward. And Step 3 accompanies the whole shebang with moving pictures. He is basically synthesizing every single thing he's learned from his film, theater, and broadcasting placements to create one fully immersive experience.
So how exactly does an independent Voyager launch something this massive? Well, he calls his strategy a strike for true independence. The big shift he's making right now is fully migrating to 100% independent distribution. He's completely focused on building a direct fan base. Instead of trying to rely on the traditional industry machinery, which remember he never felt a part of anyway, he is relying entirely on his superfans to spread the word and make this a reality. Right now, he's actually developing a forthcoming free showcase for a select audience, taking Future Child out to the people wherever it has a chance for life.
And that brings us to the end of today's exploration. I want to leave you with this final, provocative question to chew on. As Hughes completely migrates to this direct-to-fan model, banking entirely on the passion of his audience, will the multimedia Future Child project actually redefine how we share independent stories on our own island in space? I mean, could this deeply personal, multi-language, multimedia approach become the ultimate blueprint for modern independent artists who are just trying to share their own stories from our little speck of dust? It's a brilliantly fascinating model from a truly unique artist, and for sure, I highly recommend keeping a close eye on exactly where Future Child goes next.